Good morning. Good morning. No. Okay. Good morning. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today. We do have our middle school and high school students here, along with some parents. And then we have our honored guests, our veterans. We're happy that all of you are here today. Next is J.C. Doss.
Good morning. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Would you please stand with me for a prayer and remain standing for the presentation of colors? Bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day where we can honor our veterans. Thank you for the sacrifices that they have made for our country, as well as their families' sacrifices. We ask that you put your hand of protection over those that have served and the ones that continue to serve. I ask that you refresh them today and every family that has lost a loved one, and that you would be with them, comfort them, and draw them closer to you. In your name I pray, amen.
About face. Forward left. Halt. Present colors. Forward left.
Is that okay?
Halt.
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
they'll be coming in like a second. And they all file. Just looks like they're missing something.
Veterans, when I announce your name, please stand to be recognized. Brenda Birch, Army National Guard. Hero Lawrence, Army National Guard. Alan Brickle, U.S. Navy. Barbara Cecil White. John Lowless, U.S. Marine Corps. Larry Ersham, Navy. or Marines, sorry. Taylor Sheet, Army National Guard. Harold Cosley, Army National Guard. Tom Shields, Army. Gordon Godfrey, Army. David Bizeth, Navy. Larry Crockett, U.S. Coast Guard. Wayne Johnson, U.S. Navy. Gerald McDaniel, U.S. Army. Ron Buffett, U.S. Navy. Meredith Chapman, U.S. Army. Gary Barnes, Army. Jesse McConnell. Ethan Hall. Joe Cosley, Army. Sergeant First Class Michael Martin, Army. Joe Purinton, Navy. Corey Pyle, Army. Isaac McAdams, Marines. Charles Brooks, Missouri Army National Guard. Terry Fabian, Army. Justin Ersham, Army. George Foley, U.S. Navy. Rich Martindale, U.S. Army. Scott McPhee, U.S. Navy. Caleb Levan, Army. Tom Pomerleau, Navy. Kevin West, Army. Mr. Bronson, Army. Gladys Price.
This part was the program wasn't in here, and we added it at the last moment. We have a special guest today. She's a young lady. It's about to turn 100. She served with the British Army in World War II. She was a British soldier. She was born and raised in Britain. Got to talk to her a while ago. She spent 4 years. British women served, trained, fought right beside the British men. And her name is Gladys Price. She lives here in Lamar, and thank you for your service. We have very few World War II veterans left. Thank you, Ms. Price. Are there any other World War II vets in the audience? Are there any others that served in World War II? Thank you.
It's my privilege to introduce our first guest speaker, Petty Officer First Class David Bozarth. He was born and raised in El Dorado Springs, Missouri, and graduated from El Dorado High School in 1977. After graduation from high school, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and volunteered for submarine duty. He served 6 years in the Navy, with 4.5 years assigned to the USS Lewis and Clark, SSBN 644, as a fire control technician, ballistics missiles, Poseidon. He earned his qualification in submarines and was awarded the Enlisted Submarine Warfare Insignia and earned the SSBN Deterrent Patrol Insignia with 2 silver stars. He rose to the ranking of First Class Petty Officer, or E6, and was recognized for his expertise and leadership. He left active duty in 1984 and has worked in electronics and information technology since then.
Okay, I'm tall. I'm going to pull it off the stand. Thank you very much for inviting me to be here with you. I've looked forward to this time for about 2 years now, and you'll find out why. I stand before you today to represent veterans, men and women who have served the United States in times of war and peace. All veterans at some point in time basically wrote a blank check to the U.S. government and the people to pay the cost, to make the sacrifice, whatever it took to defend the United States and its people, up to and including to lay down our lives so that you may live. Today I represent approximately 19.6 million veterans and 940,000 members of the VFW, all of whom are combat veterans. But more importantly, I stand before you representing my brothers and sisters who bear the proud moniker of submariner. It can be estimated that there are about 300,000 veterans of the U.S. Navy submarine force in the U.S. Each submariner has earned the coveted and cherished and honored submarine warfare insignia, our Dolphins. And if you see me, it's this top medal on my hat. The submarine force took a young, insecure, geeky, and very skinny young man from El Dorado Springs and made him into something he'd never dreamed of. Yes, my training and submarine experiences revealed talents, abilities, capabilities, and mental processes that had been hidden beneath all those exterior features. The submarine force gave me expertise, self-confidence, determination, and a self-assuredness I never knew existed. Submariners are frequently identified as the elite of the fleet. We are the finest and the brightest the Navy has to offer. And if you don't believe it, just ask any one of us. That's one of my brothers back there. We're also very humble about it. As an example, in my chosen job field, I spent almost 1.5 years in training, starting with boot camp, then basic enlisted submarine school, electronics A school, which is basic tech school, my ballistic missiles C school, which was advanced technical school, before I was assigned to my submarine. But the training didn't stop there. I attended many focused technical schools on various subsystems in the fire control system. There were and are team trainers, simply simulators, where the various teams of the submarine crew are drilled in operations, casualty control, problem resolution, and more to make sure we can respond to almost any situation while at sea. We are continually screened and monitored to ensure we measured up psychologically, mentally, and physically to accomplish our assignments. Then once assigned to an operational submarine, not only did we have to qualify to be able to stand duty in our specific jobs, we had to qualify in submarines. Yes, these dolphins are not free, they're earned. We had to learn every major system on the submarine: electrical, hydraulic, water, both fresh and seawater, air, reactor systems, ventilation, operations of the submarine, masts, antennas, weapons. I could go on and on. Where every piece of damage control equipment was located on the entire submarine by memory. Some of us even had to learn how to find it blindfolded. It could take up to a year to earn our dolphins. What about the grades in our schools? When I was in the Navy, the failing grade for standard Navy schools was 67.5%. And you might get a couple of chances to bring your grade up. However, in submarine schools, the minimum passing grade was 72.5%, a notch higher. And if any student received just one, 72.4 to the surface fleet. Fail to earn your dolphins in a year to the surface fleet. Not measure up to the high standards of the submarine force or your crew. Yep, to the surface fleet. That's why we're better. The surface fleet gets all the rejects from the submarine force. And I became a part of that elite naval force. I am one of the elite of the fleet. Oh, and those newly discovered characteristics, expertise, self-confidence, determination, and self-assuredness, well, they have been ingrained in my psyche ever since. They had become an active part of my character and have carried me through many years since the Navy. I have become the go-to person wherever I work. If no one else can fix it, get Dave. If something needs to be done, must be accomplished, and everyone else tells you that it's impossible, then give it to me. It will be accomplished. I'll give you one short sea story because I know you all want to hear a sea story, and I will not start it in the classic sea story manner. On my second patrol, we were out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean someplace, and we were getting ready for the movie one night, and we got rammed by a whale. We don't know it was a whale, but it was just something big in the water that hit us that was an animal. So how many people in Missouri can say they've been rammed by a whale in a submarine in the Atlantic Ocean? Okay, thank you. Am I unique or special? No. Almost every submariner I served with and know has the same can-do spirit. To us, the word impossible is not in our vocabulary. Impossible doesn't scare or intimidate us. But why is this so special, especially important to me, and by extension, Lamar, Missouri, and the Lamar school districts? Lamar occupies a unique place in the history of the United States. Not only is Lamar the birthplace of Harry Truman, the 33rd President of the United States, but Lamar High School holds the honor of graduating the 3 admirals. As far as I know and could find, no other high school in the United States holds such an honor. Even more than this, 2 of these admirals, Vice Admiral Charles Lockwood and Rear Admiral Freeland Daubin, are my brothers. They're submariners. I consider Admiral Lockwood to be like my great-grandfather as a submariner. While serving as Commander Submarine Southwest Pacific from May of '42 to February of '43, and then Commander Submarine Forces of the Pacific Fleet through the end of the war, Admiral Lockwood established many principles and expectations that still influence today's submarine force. During World War II, Admiral Chester Nimitz said, "It is to the everlasting honor and glory of our submarine personnel that they never failed us in our days of great peril." Unquote. Indeed, it was the submarine force that created the space that the U.S. industry needed to replace the ships we lost in Pearl Harbor. In 1942, U.S. submarines became the first line of both defense and offense against the Japanese Empire. Yet, they encountered some problems that hindered their effectiveness, most notably our torpedoes. There were problems with the torpedoes, and 1942 is considered the black year. But Admiral Lockwood, a Lamar High School graduate, he listened to his team. He heard their complaints and set everyone to work to find a solution. This is a submarine thing. Don't come complaining about a problem if you don't bring a solution, period. Listen to something Admiral Lockwood wrote after the war about our submariners. They were no supermen, nor were they endowed with any supernatural qualities of heroism. They were merely top-notch American lads, well-trained, well-treated, well-armed, and provided with superb ships. May God grant there will be no World War III. But if there is, whether it be fought with the weapons we know or with weapons of whose type we can only guess, submarines and submariners will be in the thick of that combat, fighting with skill, determination, and matchless daring for all of us and for our United States of America. That's from his book, Sink 'Em All, on page 349, if you want to look it up. Yes, Admiral Lockwood established a very high standard for submariners. And today's submarine force is just as important and must be able to meet Admiral Nimitz's and Admiral Lockwood's high standards of success. Yes, this began here in Lamar, Missouri. This is your legacy, and this is your challenge. This is similar to the challenge that every citizen who becomes a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine faces before or when enlisting. This is the challenge every veteran confronts every day. Am I living up to the expectations of being a veteran? Today, my veteran brothers and sisters here, I salute you and thank you for your service. To those of you who are not old enough to have served or have not served, I ask, how will you live up to the challenges presented by the three admirals? How will you live up to the burden and responsibilities that your freedoms demand? How will you truly respect, honor, and cherish the memories of fallen veterans and those still living today? I'll give you a hint. It will take more than just saying, thank you for your service. Thank you.
Today we have the privilege of having two guest speakers. Our second speaker is Joe Cosley. He served 13 years in the Missouri Army National Guard with the rank of EF-5 Sergeant. He had 2 deployments, 05 to 06 in Iraq for OIF-3 and 08 to 09 in Kosovo for K410. He also served 7 years full-time at Camp Clark in Nevada, Missouri.
Good morning. I am honored to be here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. This opportunity is something I've wondered if I'd ever get the chance to speak at the same high school that I graduated from, and today is the day. So I hope you guys are ready, because I got a little warning for you. I'm going to push a little bit. And I hope everybody that's here knows you're here for a reason. As I look at the youth and I look in the stands, you're here for a reason, because I believe I have something you need to hear today. So please listen. A little bit more about me. I'm blessed to have my wife Heather here of 10 years. I got my 2 boys, Dalton and Asher, that are a blessing to me as well. I'm being told I need to hold the mic. Can you guys hear me in the back? I'm getting a thumbs up, so I'm just going to keep kind of yelling a little bit. So I joined the Army National Guard on my 17th birthday. I joined the Army National Guard because they were the ones that would let me in the soonest, because I wanted to go make a difference. I knew that that's something that I wanted to do. I did the split option training. So in between my junior and senior year, I went to basic at Fort Sill, came home, graduated in 04. I had broken my arm, so I didn't get to go straight into training, but I went a few months later into training at Fort Lee, Virginia. And then there is when I got my first mobilization orders to catch up with some local men and women as we were on our way to Iraq. So I went straight from there to Fort Riley, Kansas, and then from there on to Kuwait and into Kosovo, and into Iraq. And it was in Iraq when I turned 19 years old. I look back and I realized I was just a pup. I had no idea, but I thought I could do anything. And then I came home after that year, went to college for a little bit, got my second mobilization orders to go to Kosovo this time. Gone for another year. It was after that I got back, I started working up at Camp Clark full time, and that is where I thought I was going to retire. That was my plan, until God changed the course of my plan and changed the direction for my life. And I'm glad I followed, even though it was a leap of faith, because I am honored now to be serving in a different way as a full-time pastor at Oakton Church. Thank you. While preparing, I thought about many different directions to talk about today. I thought about the past wars, starting with the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, Mexican-American War, Civil War, Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and the most recent that I had the honor of being a part of, Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. I thought about maybe I should talk about why I even wanted to join, maybe inspire some of you. And that was simple, 2 reasons. I grew up seeing my dad put the uniform on. I remember helping him shine his boots. And so therefore I knew how to shine boots whenever it was time for me to get in. But the big reason was I was right down these halls when I saw that second plane fly into the second tower on 9/11. And I wanted from that day on to make a difference for my country. And I knew that moment that's what I wanted to do. But then I got to thinking, The only people that remember that day are those of us that are either serving in the school, guest, or sitting down here, because all of you weren't even born yet. As I look at my youth. And so I need you guys to make sure you listen to those that were there to help you tell you what it was so we never forget. Just like I had to listen to those before me about Pearl Harbor. I thought about speaking on the experiences I had while I served, the leadership skills I was taught, the discipline needed to succeed, the importance of attention to detail. And then I thought even more about those that served before me. What would they say if they had the opportunity to speak? Will I honor them in the way I know that they deserve? And so to my veterans, I say thank you. Thank you. During my time in service, I had the privilege of serving with many that I believe are far greater than I. Some are sitting here. Some you guys are related to. I was blessed during my years of service and confident in the lessons that I learned have helped me become the person I am today and still serve me in my daily task. If you are as thankful as I am for the sacrifices of the past and present men and women who bravely fought to keep this nation free, then I would like to challenge you today. My challenge is simple. I challenge you to be an American who's worth fighting for. I challenge you to make good choices. Be a productive citizen in the United States of America. I stand before you today on November 10th, 2023, recognizing tomorrow as Veterans Day, and I want to talk about your future. A quote that you may have heard before, but maybe we need to hear again. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day, we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. And that was a quote from President Ronald Reagan. When he said that quote, it was a little different world than we're living in today. But it still is a true quote that I believe we need to take to heart. We are blessed to be living in the United States of America. Currently, it is the greatest country in the world, and I challenge you to do your part to keep it that way. If you're of voting age, you need to be voting. Please do your part and go vote. Do your research. Make sure you're voting for the person or policy that would best help the country, whichever way you see fit. Those of you who are too young, my youth, encourage your parents. Encourage the teachers around you to go vote. You can still learn about the government. Pay attention in class. You need to know these things. And then when it's your time, you can do your part and go vote. The future of America is in the hands of the next generation. Your generation. And I thought if I had the opportunity, I'd push a little bit, because I don't want to have to complain about it when you guys are leading and making these important decisions. We might have the next president among us. We might have the next veteran or a general among us. It's possible. I can see it. Be the citizens you want others to be and help mold the future of America in the right direction. That is how you say thank you to a veteran. Our freedoms have been fought for and protected by the American veteran. Please do not allow our freedoms be taken away or given away out of ignorance. Decide today to always respect the American flag and the national anthem at all times. Choose today to always be brave and do the right thing by showing respect and standing and crossing your heart when the flag is being presented and whenever that national anthem or Pledge of Allegiance is being spoken or sang. And I challenge you to do it even if you're the only one. No matter what athlete or celebrity chooses not to, you be bold, you stand up, you do the right thing. While you're standing there, crossing your heart, looking at the flag, remember what it took to get that flag here today. Remember the veterans that it took to keep our country free, so we're still flying this flag and not a different flag. And not many generations ago, there was a chance whenever this flag might not have been here. It was the American veteran that made sure our flag stayed true. Now I'd like to share with you a few words from the 4th verse of the Star-Spangled Banner. Most of the time you only hear the first, but I feel it's appropriate today. It goes like this. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. We are blessed to be living in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and we can thank our veterans for that. And the best way I have for you to thank a veteran is to be a citizen worth fighting for. In closing, I'd like to leave you with one last quote. This one comes from a long time ago, actually before the United States of America had been formed. You already heard this quote once by Miss J.C. But Jesus said in John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice to redeem this world over 2,000 years ago. He's the reason we have for hope of eternal life. The American veteran gave the sacrifices needed for us to keep the freedoms God has blessed this country with. Please never forget why both of these sacrifices are important today. I thank you for listening. I thank you for this honor of speaking today. And veterans, I say thank you.
Please stand as your branch song is played. The United States Army. United States Marines. United States Navy. United States Coast Guard. United States Air Force.
Thank you.
and a moment of silence to honor our veterans. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for coming today. This was a great way to recognize our veterans. Veterans, thank you for your service. We're so honored to have you here with us. At this time, LCTC students may exit the bleachers first. Middle school may also go ahead and exit to the south. Veterans, we invite you to stay and visit with one another.